Have you ever seen an older European, perhaps a grandparent, meticulously saving scraps of food, carefully mending a piece of clothing, or expressing genuine shock at the amount of waste in a modern supermarket? It's not just a personal quirk. It's a whisper from the past, a cultural echo of a time when survival depended on saving every last crumb. This is the story of Europe's long memory of shortages and how the trauma of war, rationing, and rebuilding forged a deep-seated, almost instinctual hatred of waste. To understand this mindset, we have to go back to the immediate aftermath of World War II. The continent was in ruins. Cities were rubble, farms were destroyed, and supply chains had collapsed for millions. Daily life was defined by hunger. In Germany, in the winter of 1946, official rations sometimes dropped to as low as 800 calories a day. People were freezing to death in bombed-out apartments. This wasn't a statistic. It was a lived reality. The generation that survived this, the rubble women of Berlin clearing debris with their bare hands, the children who scavenged for food, carried the memory of that gnawing emptiness for the rest of their lives. This experience led to the era of rationing, which continued for years after the war ended. In the UK, bread was rationed until 1948 and meat until 1954, 9 years after the fighting stopped. Ration cards were a part of life. Every family was allocated a precise amount of sugar, butter, meat, and clothing. The system taught an entire generation a powerful lesson in resourcefulness. Nothing was thrown away. Old clothes were turned into rags or patched up. Leftover food was creatively transformed into new meals. Every item had value because it was scarce. This wasn't a lifestyle choice, it was a necessity. The make-do and mend spirit wasn't a slogan. It was a survival strategy. As Europe began to rebuild, this memory of scarcity didn't just disappear with the arrival of prosperity. It became embedded in the cultural DNA. The parents and grandparents who had lived through the shortages passed their habits on to their children. They taught them to finish everything on their plate, to turn off the lights when leaving a room, and to see value in things that others might consider disposable. This is why, in many European households, you'll still find a level of frugality that can seem surprising to outsiders. It's a form of respect for the resources that were once so desperately scarce. This collective memory also shaped public policy. The drive to create the European Union was, in part, a desire to ensure that war, and the shortages that came with it, would never again plague the continent. The Common Agricultural Policy, for all its flaws, was initially designed to guarantee a stable food supply. Today, this aversion to waste is a driving force behind Europe's ambitious environmental policies. The push for a circular economy, the strict recycling laws, and the regulations against single-use plastics are all modern manifestations of that old, deep-seated fear of scarcity. It's a recognition that our planet's resources, like the rations of the past, are finite. So, the next time you see someone carefully saving a piece of string or a glass jar, remember that you might be witnessing more than just a thrifty habit. You're seeing the long shadow of history. You're seeing the legacy of a generation that rebuilt a continent from rubble, armed with little more than resilience and a profound understanding of the value of everything. It's a powerful reminder that our relationship with the things we own and the things we throw away is shaped by the memories we carry. And in Europe, the memory of having nothing runs very deep.